Good evening. Welcome to the voting meeting on September 24th, Danville Area School District. If you could all please rise and pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Wolf, if you could call roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Radkin. Ms. Albright?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Present.
Mr. Durso?
Here.
Mr. Strobel?
Here.
Mr. B. Scott? Here. Mr. Wolf here. Mr. J. Scott? Here. Ms. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Radkin?
Here.
All present, ladies.
Thank you, Commissioner Wolf. Procedures for public participation are noted on the inside cover of your agenda. If you wish to address the board, please come up to the microphone, state your name, sign in. You'll have 3 minutes to present to the board. I think everybody has noticed we have our official representatives here from the high school. So welcome them if you haven't already. Glad to see you guys here. Don't be afraid to pitch in any comments you may have. So don't be afraid to address the board at all. We're more than happy to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, we get a chance
Well, so I mean, there are 2 official times that you guys can address the board officially as a school board or as a school representative, but you guys are here really as just a representative of the students. And if there's anything on the agenda as we go through it that you feel you need makes the students would like us to consider at that point on the agenda, please feel free to chime in at that point as we go through. If you guys, I'm sure you guys are part of, I gather, most likely you guys are probably part of school government.
Yeah.
So you're probably kind of familiar with procedures and all of that kind of stuff. Please don't feel that you have to ask permission to. I think that's kind of defeats the purpose of having you guys here. So if there's something on the agenda you guys want to chime in on when we get to that point, please feel free to do so. And then, as always, just like the public, before or at the end, if there's anything that's not on the agenda that you guys want to bring up, that would be the time to do so. There will be an executive session following the meeting for negotiations of personnel. We do have one agenda edit, although it's not a big edit. All it is a date change for the Buddy Walk. What date should that be, Ron?
It should read October 7th from 7 a.m. to October 7th, 6 p.m.
So that's on your use of facilities, the first item there. With that being said, any presentations by public on any agenda items? Or are there any other board member edits that I should be aware of? Then we'll move on to our consent agenda.
I make a motion to accept items 7 and 8, 7A through B, and 8A through C.
Good question on a couple of
Well, they are on the consent agenda. If there's one you want us to pull off, we should do that. Or is there a question of whether you're actually going to approve the consent as a whole, or?
No, there's 2 items in particular that I think we brought up in the committee of the whole.
Yeah, so we can. I mean, if you're.
I'm referring to K and O. 7K.
Yes.
7O.
Yeah. So let's. I think you'll be.
Discuss that. I think
Yes.
you questioned it.
I think you'll.
As is.
I think you'll be okay with it on the consent then, right? So we can make a motion
Sure.
and then we can have a discussion.
That's fine.
Okay. So you want to continue with your motion, Mr.
My
President?
motion was basically for 7 and 8.
Okay.
Tied.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion for items 7A through V and 8.
Who seconded that?
Mr. J. Scott.
Mr. J. Scott.
And items 8A through C. So to answer your question, Mr. Scott, yes, we did bring this up in agenda review. Out of the words of our acting superintendent, this is, I guess, standard operating procedure for these types of events. And even though the fact that it is close, like in Boyertown, that at these events, the participants are expected to stay at the local, whatever the hotel is. So,
All right. Where's the local hotel where the...
Halfway back.
It's further to
I
know the one
the
who
hotel
knows.
than it is to the...
I asked that question and as well, Mr. Scott. We're
The
not
blinking light.
we're not thinking too far off here. There are some motels that I can think of in Boyertown, but no
You
hotels.
have to comfort in, that's the biggest.
That would be Pottstown, yeah.
It's halfway to Dingswood.
Yeah. So, did you happen to get that information?
Yeah, it's a requirement first by those organizations for the students to stay there. The group itself, PIMA, I guess it is, they have not made the determination as to what location they're going to stay at yet.
Quality, it's,
Perhaps,
Do you have some recommendations?
perhaps whoever's house is closest can register on Airbnb, and maybe you can make some money and get some students stay at your house. Does that answer your question, Mr. Scott?
No, but I'll accept it.
Well, the question's answered. Do I agree with it? I mean, I've been part of, I'm sure you've been part of organizations before in the past where you're required to stay at their hotel kind of deal. And I know we did it when it was travel, sports, and all that stuff. So I get it. I can't say I agree with it, but I get it.
extended learning process.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. Wolf?
There it is.
Consent agenda items 7A through 7B and 8A through 8C will be adopted if there's no objection. There being no objection, these items are adopted.
Okay. Item 9, personnel.
Make a motion for 9A, B, C.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Mr. Strobel seconds. Mr. Durso made the motion. All those in favor of items 9A through C, say your so approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 9 carries unanimously. Item 10, old business.
Keep it rolling. 10, A, and B. Make a motion.
Mr. Durso, do I have a second?
Second.
I'll give it to, is that Mrs. Olson? All righty. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. And item 11, any new business? Hearing none. Any presentations by public? Might be quickest meeting ever.
I did have a question that I'm not sure where to bring it up at this point. The news of the state troopers providing service to school districts that don't have local police force. I didn't see the high school included in that. Isn't the...
I just think that whoever wrote the article, that might have been a different troop. I don't know what troop covers us. That might have been, I don't think does the Reading Barracks cover us? Or is that a different barracks?
Reading Barrett covers all of Berks
It
County.
is all Berks County, yeah.
Statewide, I thought that.
Yeah, it's statewide that they're supposed to make a visit each day, whether that's a drive-by or an actual get out of the vehicle and go into the building or whatever. I'm sure if you have a question, I'm sure Mr. McKnight would certainly be able to answer that. But it's all schools in the
high
state.
school and MEC?
ABC's Amity.
Yeah, the only school we have is the high school. That's the only school we have that's in state police territory. Everything else is covered by either Birdsboro, which we're going to close, but Amity Police covers MEC.
That's Township on the
Yep.
southern-
Yep.
Oh, that is on the southern part.
Yep. Does that answer your question,
Yes, it
sir?
does.
Okay. Anybody else?
I guess we'll let you do this ourselves now, just talk about it. Real quick, if you have a minute. Turn in your mic.
So the spooling on the microphone, if you actually click it towards you on the left and push down the center, it'll stay on. Otherwise, if you keep it in,
Just hold the button down.
yeah. Otherwise, you have to hold the button down the whole time. So it's your choice. Yeah.
Just get them an iPad, they don't understand the switch stuff.
All right, is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm Cameron Ross. This is Austin Longman. I'm the senior school board representative for our class. Basically, our goal is to just bridge the gap between the student body in the high school and the school board. If the student body has any kind of issues or anything that they believe the school board should know, our job is to bring that to you. And if there's anything that you would like to know from the student body, like, for example, how the iPad rollout went or stuff like that, that's our job. And we'll do our best to bring that to you through public surveys or anything like that. Real quick, I just wanted to mention that I'll try and bring like a full report for you guys, but the iPad rollout did go pretty well from what I've heard from the student body. It's very useful for a lot of classes and a lot of teachers are using it. Other than that, there's a few other issues that we'd like to bring up at some point, but we'll try and get a whole student body on their opinion for that before we bring it to you, because we don't want to just give you our personal opinion. That's not okay. So, I have nothing to add.
And if you tell us that Mr. McKnight's the best, we won't believe you. He put you up to it. So,
Pretty good. That was like a,
Mr. Temple?
I don't know. It's convincing.
yeah.
Harry Templin, 2032 East Main Street, Douglasville. See that?
Yeah.
I was in Bedford.
You're on the clock, baby.
1975, senior student body request, you constantly asked them for more money for the music department, okay? From 1975, senior of this place, asked them for more money for the music department, as much as you can. Well, yeah, okay. And Mr. Miller, you want to know the history of your question? The reason why this is happening is because Birdsboro Police was sitting in the Maple Springs parking lot very many years ago, and a young man thought he'd come flying down speeding on Chester Street, and he got arrested. But why did he have to pay the fine? Because the Birdsboro Police was in the Union Township parking lot, not in the borough. So, thus is why we don't have borough protection at the high school no more. We have to go through the state police. That's the beginning of what the problem have there. And this overnight stay, who all pays that?
I think you saw it is budgeted by the music department,
Okay.
so that would obviously come from the school.
Okay.
It does say potential contributions, but obviously potential doesn't mean actual, right? So,
I was just going to suggest there's a very big indoor place that's been closed for a little while now. They could take their sleeping bags called Cerns. It was for sale. It's right there in town. I mean, there's probably enough facilities there. They could pop over one of those restaurants there, or the fish place or something. Might be there, you know.
we'll forward that to the music department as a proper suggestion.
His name is the suggestion.
There's a bar right next door, too.
It's a wonderful way to spend the 30th anniversary. Love you, honey. 90th anniversary. So, thank you.
All right, Mr. Temple, thank you.
Your happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Any other public comment? And when does the breakfast start?
The 5th, October 5th, Friday morning.
And
Coming?
what time will the trucks be present?
I suspect, in talking to Mrs. Reno today, she'll be there at 6:30 to help them get set up. By 7 o'clock, they should function. So we would expect the school board president.
Yeah, it's a little earlier for me, but I will make an attempt to
We'll be there.
get down. Can I order online and then
No.
a little early?
You gotta walk up to the car.
Yeah, okay. All right, very good.
What time? 6:30?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Durso and Mr. Wolf. Meeting adjourned.